everyone. We are here with the guys of a little bit of a mess and the guys of Kings of Leon. This is Caleb, Jared, Nathan, and Matthew. So last night you guys played an awesome show at Le Poisson Rouge, actually here in Manhattan, to not more than a couple hundred people. Was like a small room, did it bring you back to like the good old days of club touring? Like feel good?
Yeah, I think the smell was the main thing.
The beer on the floor?
Yeah, the beer on the floor for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely nerve-wracking. I feel like at this point we're more comfortable playing in front of like large audiences, and so to have people up close, like looking you right in the eye, it's kind of spooky.
You want a little space. You guys were obviously previewing new songs off of Walls, which comes out tomorrow, your 7th album. The last record came out in 2013. You guys toured. How long after you guys get home does somebody start kind of itching to get back in the studio?
You like having that time off, especially with the way that we tour, but we already start the process while we're touring.
Right.
So like we'll sound check and you start jamming on things and a song will kind of start to take form and you know you've got those, but you take off as much time as you can without becoming completely irrelevant.
Right.
I mean, I feel like we already have, a handful of songs for the next album that didn't make the cut for this one.
Cool.
So yeah, we work a lot, I think.
Is one of you guys usually the first one to start booking times and say it's time to get ready to go?
I don't
We
know.
all kind of feel it at the same time. I think we can kind of tell that it's that time, just because we would be bored at home.
Right,
It's
right.
that time.
All of our wives tend to get on our nerves at about the same time.
They start encouraging
Yeah.
you to get back in the
Yeah,
studio.
So it's usually a group
Right.
a group effort.
The first 6 albums, you guys worked with Angelo Petralja. You mixed it up for this one. You worked with Marcus Dravs, relocated to LA for a couple months. Why was it time for a big change, or what were you kind of hoping to change?
I think we just felt like we were getting comfortable.
Okay.
The routine was, something that was easy to us, and we wanted to change that. So we wanted to use a different producer. We wanted to get out of our own studio and kind of do something different that challenged us a little bit. And I feel like in the process, the songwriting changed, and the storytelling became a little more honest and personal.
Right.
But I mean, it was a big task, because we have children that are in school and stuff. So to uproot our families and go to LA was a big deal, but it was necessary. It's our 7th album. It's time to shake it up a little bit.
Marcus Dravs has obviously worked with Arcade Fire, Bjork, Coldplay, and he's got a reputation of being kind of difficult in the studio, really a hard worker. Like, was there any days that you were like, oh, we should have stayed in Nashville at Neon Leon?
Like the first
First
5 days.
3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Until the end.
Yeah. Until
No,
the very end.
he works you hard.
Right.
He gets the best out of you, but it is a lot of work, and he's amazing. It's not fun at all. It's not super easy,
Right.
but it's necessary, and he gets really, really good work out
Yeah,
of
the
people.
first week was really hard because we just went in and played the songs over and over, and we did no recording.
Right.
So we were excited to go to LA, and we got there, and then we just kind of didn't do much.
Right. Right.
And then he got the flu, and then
Pneumonia.
Yeah, he got pneumonia.
pneumonia.
Put him in the
We
hospital
almost killed
the
him.
first week.
Wow. The Kings of Leon.
It's because
almost-
we're super hard to work with.
It's because you guys, right. What was the hardest song to sort of figure out? Like, did you go in with one that you thought was going to end up one way and he just kind of flipped it on its head?
A lot of them.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of them morphed into different things. I feel like, was it wild that we changed so many times?
It was
And
almost
Eyes on
Yeah,
You.
Eyes on You mainly changed a lot. It was
Wild.
totally
Became a completely different song. It was like that super poppy.
Okay.
Like
There-
it sounded like a single, and then he just made it into a slow,
Even-
weird song.
Even the Waste a Moment
Right.
that you guys just watched, that was like a slow song. And he came in, he was like, play it like the Sex Pistols.
Okay.
So it became a fast song.
And you're like, let's speed this up. Yeah.
But then songs like Find Me and Over were almost completely done by
Yeah.
us.
Right.
Yeah. Not much change.
Yeah.
Matt, there's a video of you on Facebook trying to sort of work out a guitar solo. And you have a lot on this record. Yes, there is.
Okay.
It's on your own account, don't worry.
Okay, cool.
And I guess I'm wondering, like, which one was the hardest for you to figure out, or which solo did you end up being most proud of?
Goodness, that's a good one. I guess Muchacho.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of knew what I wanted to do with it. We're talking about solos, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I could tell that the song needed something like that to kind of take it up. And yeah, I brought the song home to my hotel room and just played it over and over. And
I feel like
came up
Marcus wasn't like a big fan of guitar solos.
definitely not.
Okay.
He would like say like guitar solo, huh? And like look at me, and I'll be like, that's kind of what I do. You
It's
know?
my job here, actually.
Yeah.
Whenever Matthew would get going on a guitar solo, we were all excited because
Everybody was happy.
we got to go home.
Yeah, you guys
But
got
I
to take the
understand,
Right,
like,
Marcus?
the guitar
That's
solo
fine.
thing.
We would leave the studio at night, all happy, like, okay, full day's work, and Matt would come walking in with his guitar, and Marcus would look at us and be like, please don't leave me.
Take him with you.
Please.
Not true.
Don't abandon me
Please
here.
take Matthew.
Not true.
So let's talk about the title a little bit. I think when it first came out, obviously, for those who don't know, every Kings of Leon album title has had 5 syllables. And when you guys first announced Walls, I think people were afraid that the tradition was ending, because Walls is obviously one word, one syllable. When did We Are Like Love Songs arrive? What does that mean to you guys? How did you guys arrive at that?
I think, well, Walls was like the first song
Right.
that we started working on. We started working on that while we were on the road. And Matthew one day just started writing Walls in like all sorts of fonts
Okay.
on this board. He was like, the album should be called Walls. And I was like, well, it's not 5 syllables.
Right.
So we kind of just sat there, and We Were Like Love Songs was something that kind of was sticking in my head. And so I thought it was it was kind of poetic and pretty. And I feel like with all of our songs, no matter what the subject matter, some of our songs can be kind of dark. But I'm always trying to find the beauty in the situation. So to me, I mean, all of them are kind of like love songs.
Yeah.
So it made sense to me.
Did it feel kind of good that people were so bummed that tradition was over? Like, that's like a nugget that they have sort of followed throughout all these albums?
We try to disappoint as often as we can.
No, I don't think it's over. I mean, I think every single album, too, like the super hardcore fans,
Right.
they called them by acronyms. Nobody ever, because it's 5 syllables, they never say the entire thing. So we just kind of made it easy on them. I mean, to us, the album is called We're Like Love Songs.
Right.
It's not called Walls. So.
Okay, that's interesting. The first single, which we obviously just watched right here, Waste a Moment, is about a waitress who sort of takes off with her boyfriend with dreams of stardom to Hollywood. It's not the first character song that you've written or that you guys have done, but I'm curious where that tradition started for you. Like, is creative writing just a fun exercise? Why do you sort of like to work it out that way?
Well, you came from the country stuff when you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a fan of like songwriting and,
Right.
and people that tell stories. And I find that a lot of times it's easy for you to kind of be honest in little short spurts. If you have a story about something completely different, you can put a little bit of yourself into it. So I used to go like sit in the parking lot at Walmart
Right.
and like watch people walk out and be like, oh, I'm gonna write a song about their entire life. And
Right.
I just saw them for 5 seconds. And me and Nathan watch a lot of like crime shows and
Okay.
like a lot of like husbands and wives killing each other.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm gonna write a love song about this.
Okay.
Because they loved each other so much they killed each other. But I just like to write stuff that kind of keeps me interested.
Right. When you guys hear about the origin of a song, like Caleb and I have talked about Pyro coming from like Ruby Ridge, watching that family kind of get in a standoff. Are you ever just like, dude, how did you come up with it? Like, where did this come from?
He scares me. He can go into some dark places, but I think it's easier to do that when you are, writing from a character's perspective.
Right.
At least you hope.
Death is sort of a big theme here on this record. Over obviously imagines a rock star who ends up committing suicide. Find Me is about falling in love with a ghost or still loving a ghost. And Muchacho is, really beautiful and lovely eulogy for a friend. I'm wondering, was that hanging over the studio sessions? Was that hanging over the record and the writing process?
Yeah, we were hungover.
Yeah. I think it came from we wanted to kill Marcus.
That makes sense.
So that was a big part of the record, I think.
I feel like it was like over. The story wasn't written.
Okay.
The chorus was just something that we were like singing over and over while we were playing it, and so then I had to kind of come up with the story around that. And there was this really, like the house that we rented, there was this really pretty tree in the yard.
In LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so my mind obviously went to someone hanging themselves.
Right.
And so I wrote this like a song that was going to end in this big, glorious, terrible thing. And Muchacho obviously was just natural and it came out. But I don't know, there was no like, I don't think any of us were planning on dying while we were making the record or anything like that, but.
Now would be a good time to admit it.
That wasn't.
No. I'm kind of interested in how the band operates. You guys, Jared, you mentioned it earlier, how a lot of songs get worked out in sound check, on tour. When somebody starts playing a melody, do then you guys hear your parts in your head and then you jump in? How does that work?
You can usually tell right out of the gate, like if Matt comes up with like a guitar part and the other three are kind of,
Right.
you can't get to your instrument fast enough to start playing along to
Okay.
it. So
You kinda-
that's,
you test stuff out. You'll start playing it and see if anybody jumps on it. And sometimes you can do that for years.
Right.
Like you'll play little things and nobody really will join you until you played it enough. But yeah, like he said, you can kind of feel when something is cool, and stuff does just come to us. It's weird.
Right.
Like I never write anything in my head before I
Right.
play it. I just start playing and it kind of happens.
Which
I
was
think
the
it's
song on this record that people sort of jumped on quickest or most enthusiastically?
Find Me?
Or over maybe.
Yeah, Find
Me.
Me was for like really.
I didn't jump
first.
on that. That was a hard one. You
Find
had
Me?
to teach me that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of movement on that. I mean, I feel like Walls, the song, whenever like the melody happened, we had like a sound check right after that, and everyone jumped in.
It was
Right.
so hard though. That was the hardest one.
Yeah, it was definitely hard.
Walls was very different.
Actually,
it was a full song. It was like
Over
like it
was
faster,
pretty-
right?
I think
Yeah,
Over
I-
was
I-
pretty quick too.
Thinking about it, I think it was probably Reverend. Reverend, we kind of just like came together and just did everything almost in one day.
Have we not named one yet?
I think that's about all of them. Yeah. I do want to talk about Reverend. You guys shared that song at the end of last week, and it's about Blaze Foley, who inspired it. I'm curious what your relationship with his music is, I guess.
Jared introduced us to Blaze Foley. He knew I was a big Townes Van Zandt fan. And I think on the airplane he started playing some Blaze Foley, and I like fell in love, especially after I heard his story and like how kind of troubled he was
Right.
and how beautiful his voice was, even though like on the outside he wasn't like this beautiful man.
Right.
And at my house, I have like a huge portrait of Blaze Foley hanging. But he was an awesome songwriter and beautiful voice, and no one in town liked him, and the cops hated him. Everyone hated him because
Right.
he was a troublemaker. But when he opened his mouth, it was like the most beautiful thing you could ever hear.
And how did you get to know him? You had just encountered his music some other way?
I stumbled across a video of this old dude playing a wedding in a
Okay.
backyard in Texas. And I like listened to it and it blew me away. And then it kind of fell into that rabbit hole, and then read his whole story about how he wrote songs
Right.
and then got killed for
Right.
taking up for his friend who was getting beat up, and then the guy came and killed him. And it was just like this crazy story. And yeah, I found that most of his tapes got taken by the FBI, and you can't hear anything. So the best album you can find on iTunes is Live at the Austin Outhouse. So it's like a live.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
The album comes out tomorrow, so up until this point, it's still sort of yours. when it goes out into everybody's inboxes or they can start streaming it, what do you sort of hope for everyone's listening experience? What do you hope they hear on this?
The album.
All of it.
No, I don't know. I hope they like it. We're really excited. It seems like forever since it's been finished. And yeah, tomorrow's going to be a huge day for us. Just because
Yeah, we kept it secret for a really, really long time
Right.
too. You know, like we didn't tell anybody we were in LA recording. We didn't, you know, it was kind of like our baby for a really, really long time. So it is kind of exciting for everybody to be able to finally hear what we worked on.
How hard is that to keep secret? I mean, so many people see people entering studios, leaving studios. You're no longer in Nashville. LA is much more visible.
I didn't keep it that big of a secret, like among friends. At the end of the process, we checked into a hotel because we had taken a little more time than we
Right.
expected, so we didn't stay in the houses. And every night I would go down to the bar and have a couple of pops, and whoever was there
Right.
was coming to my room to listen to it.
Right.
So
Oh, that's awesome.
I had a bunch of
Against their will.
randos up there. I'm like, what do you think?
And it would just be like 45 minutes of listening to the album really quietly on a
Right.
Bose and him shushing everybody if they said a word.
I do shush everyone.
Did
I won't
anybody have like a lukewarm reaction where they're like, thanks?
Rob Lowe did not, he did not like it too much.
I would think there, a lot of people were probably confused because it wasn't mixed, it wasn't
Sure.
mastered. It was like some songs didn't even have a vocal on it or any lyric.
Right.
And I was
there's-
like, it's great, right?
Right.
Everybody's
Like,
smart
I-
enough
yeah.
to know how fragile our egos are.
Right.
They all
They're very
acted
careful.
like they liked it. Yeah.
That's awesome. A lot of bands don't make it to 7 albums. Certainly not a lot of family bands. I'm wondering, when you look at what you guys have done and what you still want to do, like what motivates you guys to keep creating? Like what are you still sort of striving for or hoping to accomplish?
I think Record 7 was kind of a rebirth for us as far as having fun again, making
Right.
music and making records together. The previous 2, we kind of fell into a little comfort zone that
Right.
was great for, the people that liked what we were doing at the time. But I think we really wanted to challenge ourselves on this record, and it kind of showed us how much fun you can have making a record and being
Right.
creative. And I think for the future, we'll just probably approach it that way a lot more than we had in the past, and hopefully keep the trend
I feel
going.
like you're always inspired to make music. Like it just kind of happens. And you don't want to be one of those bands that gets old and they keep making records and they're bad.
Right.
So I mean, we always kind of imagine that we don't know what the future is going to hold, but I think while we're still inspired to make music, we're going to keep doing it. And if it starts to feel like it's forced, then that'll be it.
That'll be it. You guys announced a string of dates in the UK for early 2017. Can fans expect to see you stateside? What's the planning like there?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll do shows. I mean, obviously we will. I don't know when stuff's getting announced, and
They don't tell us anything.
They
No.
just tell you when to show up and where to play.
You just told me that we had tour dates. I'm just kidding.
Get ready, you're going to the UK in February.
Right.
I think we're actually going to take some time to do some fan questions right now.
Hey guys, thanks so much for being here. This is so exciting.
Hi.
I was wondering, how did you choose the singles for the album?
That's kind of, that's hard. I kind of have to pull myself out of that because I have songs that I like, and usually the songs that I'm a little leery about are the ones that are going to be the singles, and the ones that I love are like really slow.
I think we kind of made a decision to not decide on our own because we had tried that before. So we kind of just let the people around us tell us what they think is the best.
that makes us smart.
Is there a song from past albums? I'm always curious that you guys wish had gotten a shot as a single.
Jared really thinks that the end could, and I probably agree that the end should have been a single from, what album was that from?
Come Around Sundown.
Come Around Sundown.
Yeah, I mean, you can look back at so many things and
Right.
dissect it so much and think how
Closer could have been
how different your career could have been if on the first album we had released like Tranny or something like
Right.
that, and just like went a completely different way. But yeah, I thought the end could have been really big.
Awesome.
Hey guys, it's really awesome having you here. I was wondering, what's your pre-show ritual like?
It's pretty weird. We have like this chant that we do that involves like clapping and stomping, and it's like a donkey song. That's what our uncle told us, and it's a lot of he-on, that kind of stuff. And then we like sing, then we sing like a gospel song, and we have a little prayer, and we go out and kick ass.
It's really weird. It's
How long
so-
did that take to develop? I mean, like on the first tour, were you guys figuring out your donkey song?
Yeah, I think we started it very, very early.
We're
And
this-
now it's kind of embarrassing, but we have to keep doing
It's
it.
Right.
awful. We're the strangest creatures of habit. Like, there's so many stupid things that we just continue to do forever, and then you just can't stop doing it.
What's your one habit that you would like to like quit on? Like, do you put your shoes on the same order?
No, the entire pre-show ritual that we were just talking about, I would love to not do
Desperate
that.
to stop singing that song.
But I feel like if we didn't do it, we would all like walk out of our dressing rooms and walk on stage, and it would just feel kind of
Right.
weird.
Yeah, it's nice to do something
ha-
together and get some energy out before we go on.
Also, if something goes wrong, you'd be like, we really should have gone back to
Totally.
those animal noises.
And it humanizes you a little bit before you
Right.
get out there.
Or donkey. I was just
We have one last question.
Hey guys, I want to know what inspired the album art.
Just 4 men bathing in milk.
You can't see it, but I'm laying on Caleb right there. It's really weird.
Matthew he was the one that had the idea for like the doll heads. And so we found someone in Russia that made these doll heads, and it was pretty crazy if you see the process.
So these are real doll heads. These aren't like computer generated.
Yeah, these are real.
Where are they now?
They're somewhere. I think they're having their bodies built right now,
Yeah.
honestly. I think they're around. I've
Mine
seen
will
them.
be a Christmas ornament this year for sure.
Or a Christmas
But
tree?
they're small. They're very.
Oh, they're tiny.
They are
very
so tiny.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're building our muscles right now for the bodies. So
It's taken a while. to
That'll
finish
take a
my
while. There's a
six-pack.
lot. Are you guys always really involved in album covers, album art?
Yeah, sometimes too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah,
We-
we have more on this album than before.
Yeah, the guy that we worked with forever that did all of our album covers and kind of was our art director
Right.
from the beginning is the guy that Muchacho's written about.
Right.
And he actually passed, so this is the first album that we have done without him. So we kind of, somebody had to take that lead role, and we kind of just involved ourselves a little bit more.
That's awesome. Well, the album is out tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Everybody pick up walls.
Thank you.
thanks for having us.